Hi everybody, welcome to Prenatal Yoga with Selena. So we're gonna start on our pillow or cushion. If you have a bolster at home, you can grab it. Otherwise, just a pillow off of your bed or couch would suffice as well. Rolling forward, coming to sit hero over top. So depending on where you are in your trimester, you may find that this position, spreading the legs over, feels really good as it puts this compression on your bits. Or you may feel like, yeah, I might kind of want to sweep my legs forward for this next little bit. So just make sure in whatever position you get into, you're comfortable to stay for the next 5 minutes or so, okay? All right, sitting up nice and tall. Take hands to baby. Close your eyes. And start to tap into that sweet, sweet breath. Your breath is your pivot. It is your anchor. It is that starting point where you always have to access. It's always with you wherever you go. And so, encouraging nice, big, abundant cycles in, swelling your belly, swelling sideways through your rib cage. And find that rhythm. Find that ease in your physical body with each exhale, melting the shoulders down, melting the jaw open, melting the chest, melting the muscles around baby, melting through your bits and through your vagina even. All the way down, melting down your legs to your tippy toes. I'm taking 3 big out breaths now. So an out breath is where we extend the exhale longer than the inhale. So inhale, exhale, open mouth. Nice and long. Do it again. Inhale. Beautiful. When you're ready, you can gently open your eyes, adjusting to the light, and take your hands, arms down beside you. So let the shoulders melt away from your ears, making sure you're still sitting up nice and tall. Inhale, take a gentle sweep up towards the sky. See if you can bring palms together to touch. And then exhale, twisting very gently towards the left. So still sitting up tall here in your twist. Inhale will take you back up through center. Go slow, follow your rate of breath. And then exhale towards the right. Keep flowing, moving intuitively. Moving intuitively means you're moving in a way and at a pace that feels good for you. Because what feels good for you right now feels good for baby right now. We want to encourage that state of being, that raw, uninhibited, all-knowing, goddess-like, intuitive state of being within you. So as you approach your birth, you're feeling like you can access her. She's readily available. One more to either side. And ending with the right, or balancing yourself out, however that looks for you. And then on your last exhale, just bring it down the center line. Good. All right, let's come forward off the bolster. You can move it out in front of you now, that pillow or whatever you have. So moving it out in front of you, take your knees wide and bring your big toes together to touch. So this bolster or prop, it could be whatever, even if it's a stack of books, is in front of you. And here we're just gonna start to reach for it and start to melt forward. So you're gonna have to take your knees as wide as your bountiful belly is right now and allow that space in between your knees to house your belly as your torso melts in between. And here you're extending your arms over the proper bolster, bringing your forehead down to meet it and melting your armpits towards the ground. So I can show you from the side view as well. Melting your armpits towards the ground, melting your torso, your chest. You can imagine like there's a magnet on your chest and that's drawing it towards the mat, towards the bolster. Can you let your wrists be floppy? Can you let your fingers hang heavy? You can do that quick body scan from your fingertips all the way down to your tippy toes. Find those trigger spots. Let go. Let go of anywhere that's clinging to stress that doesn't serve you right now. Making space in your physical body, your mental body, emotional body. One more big nourishing breath. Make it an out breath. If you're feeling like today you just have a little extra stress or tension you need to release, let it go through an open mouth. Good. And then very slowly start to peel your way up and up and up. You can move that prop over to the side for now. We don't need it for the time being. Good. And then sweep your feet around and come to sit on your bum. Okay, take the legs wide, a little bit wider than your mat, not at their maximum width. Flex the toes and see if you can encourage the pelvis here, these 4 bones of your pelvis, to roll forward into the space in between your legs and give you that tall seat. So you can see from the side, if I didn't have that tall seat, you'd see kind of a rounding in my spine. And so that bowl here, the pelvic bowl, is tilting back. So if it were filled with fluid would be tilting out the back. Can you encourage that neutral spine, tilting your pelvis forward, sitting high up on your sits bones, coming off of your tailbone or sacrum area? And if this is just too challenging right now, because do know it is hard to sit up here. This is your core giving you strength in this nice tall seat. If it is too challenging, then slip a rolled up towel or blanket underneath your sits bones and then allow the pelvis to roll forward in front of that towel. And that can really help to give you height and good posture and alignment here. All right, inhale, bring your arms up overhead, nice bright fingers, kind of like you're holding a giant beach ball. And we're gonna slowly start to twist around, circling side to side. And as you come up, come right through the center line. So you don't wanna activate the 6-pack. As you come back, coming right up through neutral, side forward as far as you can, side and back up through center. So what can happen if we activate the 6-pack, even in your first trimester, but especially in the later stages as belly becomes more bountiful, is you can exacerbate and open up that 6-pack wall. So it's connected together with something called fascia. It's kind of like a spider web of interconnected tissue that holds your 6-pack wall together. Every mama in their 3rd trimester will experience some degree of this weakening of the tissue. It's called diastasis recti. And it's okay, every mama will experience some degree. Let's do one more circle around. But what you don't want to do is exacerbate it and make it worse by doing things like reverse sit-ups, crunchies. Okay, take it in the opposite direction. And things like planks as well, kind of like that push-up position. It's for those reasons that we don't do those poses and postures in prenatal. We want to honor what the body is doing right now, how the body is growing life. We want to honor the changes and really truly celebrate them. And so just being mindful of certain movements that we might usually do, being mindful about how that can impact the body. Sweeping around. I know those arms are feeling that fire. It's on purpose. Keep the fingers bright. 2 more big giant circles. So remember, my cues here in class are always suggestions. If something really doesn't feel right for you, don't do it. Good, coming back up to your tall seat and release down. Okay, coming into this fire log legs, we're gonna bend into the left knee and then bend into the right knee. Take it on top of the bottom leg. Really flex nice and strong into both feet and allow the top knee to fall towards the bottom heel. Both feet are flexed. Remember that pelvis, shifting it forward into the nice neutral spine so we can get that tall seat. And here, just finding little micro movements to help encourage that knee to hang heavy. Good. One more breath. Hip openers are really juicy. This is our first one of the class, so making sure you're not holding on to any extra tension, especially in the face. All right, putting the weight into your hands, start to unravel the legs. Can come up, give them a little shake out, and we're gonna set ourselves for the opposite side. So taking the right leg under, left leg on top. Just do the opposite of what you just did. Find that sweet micro movement. Coupling it with your breath. Your breath allows your body to find release, especially on the exhale. Coupling it perhaps with visualization by closing your eyes and imagining that hip joint opening. Yeah. Checking in with those trigger spots, anywhere that's clinging to stress, letting it go. So the jaw, when you're clenching, is connected to your bits, the pelvic floor area, those muscles that sit at the base of your pelvis, in which baby are gonna pass through when you're in birth. And so making sure that you're not clenching, as a lot of us do when we're faced with a challenge. Rather, it's soft here, your tongue is hanging heavy in the back of your throat. One more breath. Good. All right, putting the weight back into your hands, unraveling those legs, and take the feet wide, and let's come into a nice big windshield wiper. Feels so good. Awesome. Okay, swivel those feet around behind you, and we're gonna come up into tabletop. So depending on where you are at in your pregnancy, if you're ever feeling like you got kicked in the crotch, this is called symphysis pubic dysfunction, SPD. And you'll know it because if you lift up a leg, you'll feel like this dull, achy sensation down there. I don't want you to grin and bear through that. This is never my intention. So if we ever lift up a leg, I'll show you from the side. If we ever lift up a leg and you're feeling like that icky sensation in your pubic bone, please always come into this modified, just a nice, beautiful calf stretch, because we could always use more stretching in our calf, okay? Otherwise, from tabletop, we're gonna raise the right knee out to the side. Keep your hips level. So your right knee doesn't have to come up really high. Keep your hips level. Don't raise the right hip. Just keep it nice and level to the floor. And then circle the knee forward 3 times. Being mindful, okay, and circle it back. Being mindful that you're not lifting up the right hip, keeping it level. So as if a martini glass is sitting on your sacrum, it wouldn't fall over. Or I guess in your case, a teacup. Resting your knee down, give the hips a swivel, and we'll do the opposite side. Okay, so if you're doing your calf stretch, extending the left leg long. Otherwise, bring the left knee out to the side and 3 rotations forward and then 3 rotations back. Keep breathing. That's your power center. Awesome, and settling back into your table. All right, so from table, shimmy your left hand into the center line right underneath your chest. Inhale, sweep your right arm up. And then exhale, bring that right hand down on your lower back, right on your sacrum, this big bone at the base of your pelvis, at the base of your spine. Bring your hand here, fingers towards your toes or towards your heels. And then open up. So you can feel open up your elbow and shoulder a little bit. Breathing nice, strong, deep breaths. Good. And then we're gonna take that hand, threading it underneath the left arm now. Coming into threaded needle, seeing if you can lower your right shoulder all the way down, lowering your head all the way down, and then extend your your left arm forward, straightening it. Extend your fingers, reaching them forward, forward, forward. Threaded needle. In this semi-inversion state, feels really good. The hips up high, over the knees, especially if your baby is sitting really low, sitting on your bladder. These semi-inversions can feel beautiful because they help open up the pelvis a little bit and help encourage baby maybe into a different position off of your bladder. All right, slide that left hand back into the center line, putting weight into it. Come back up into tabletop. Let's do the opposite side. Right hand shifts into the center. Inhale, sweep it up. And then exhale, bring your left hand right onto the base of your spine there. Continue to open up your heart. And slowly unraveling, threading the left arm through underneath the right. Lower your shoulder all the way to the ground and then extend your right fingers. Right arm straightens, reaching it forward. Can you still breathe here? Remember, my cues are suggestions. So if you don't want to rest your head down, shoulder down, no problem. One more breath. And then when you're ready, slowly sliding that hand back into place and coming back into table. Okay, take your knees wide, curl your toes under. We're going to squat our way up, so you can just kind of do this gentle ragdoll to stand. Arms heavy, head heavy, all the way to the top. Awesome. All right, so keeping your heels a little wider than your hips, plie the toes out if they're not already there. Arms by your sides. So if you're over 35 weeks now and you know baby is breached, the little stinkers, then I want you to just come into a half squat here. So not too deep. When we come into a deep squat, we actually encourage the pelvis to open a little bit, and at 35 weeks and not in the optimal position for birth, then we don't want to encourage baby to descend at that stage, okay? Otherwise, doing whatever feels good for you. Let's start with half squat and seeing how that works. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. Exhale, bring your hands down the center and to your knees. Fingers on the inside, tuck your tail, round your spine, and ragdoll up. So you ragdoll this slow, don't rush it. Let's do that again. Especially if you're feeling nauseated or lightheaded, have heartburn or indigestion, these half squats where you're keeping your head up above your heart are really helpful. Okay, so always thinking about that. How are you feeling? Don't grin and bear through any of this. Okay, coming a little deeper if you want to explore it, bringing hands to the floor, settling pelvis down. Heels could be up or down, putting the weight into your hands and ragdoll up. Drop your head, knees are soft. Don't rush it. I always have to say this because I know as busy mummies to be, just busy lives in general, we're always go, go, go. And so you don't have to keep up with my pace. In fact, I prefer you not to. Do your pace, you do you. Following your intuition, helping to practice as you lead up to your birth. Remember, birth is a natural process. And if we just let you explore that journey without taking you out of that space, keeping you in that safe, sacred environment, supporting you, holding space, will help to ensure that your birth to you feels more successful. And whether that ends up baby being born vaginally, cesarean, in the water, out of the water, whatever, you felt like you owned your birth during that entire time. You were in command. You made the decisions. All right, last cycle, and you're gonna bring it down the center line. Don't rush it if you're a step behind. And then if you're not already, come to the top of your mat for mountain pose. Okay, so showing you from the side, mountain pose is really big. Just tuck in my shirt to show you here. So oftentimes what happens is, especially in the later stages of pregnancy without bringing any attention or awareness to your alignment, is the hips thrust forward, and then what happens right away is the shoulders round in. Okay, and so we create this S-shaped body. So you'll hear me talk about this in almost every class. Alignment is really important, not just when you're in your yoga class, but when you're cooking and when you're walking and when you're standing in lineups. Thinking about alignment, especially as you lead up to the third trimester, making sure that you are stacking ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips, hips over heels, and then all four corners of your feet pressing firmly into the mat. That's really important. Don't put just the weight in your heels. Okay, all four corners. And this is really important. Don't tuck your tail, blossom your bum. Okay, can you blossom your bum? Try and get rid of the pant creases if you can. And then chin is like parallel to the floor, so you don't want it coming forward. You want the head nice and tall. And you can just imagine like you're shining that beam of light out of the crown of your head. I like to bring my palms forward in mountain because this helps to open up the heart, the collarbone as well. Take 3 big breaths here. And I want you to notice if standing now in this optimal alignment is indeed a big departure from where you normally stand, from where you normally are. Usually when we set ourselves up in this nice tall alignment, we can access and expand our breath even more. So finishing up your last cycle, how does it feel? Tuning in. Good. All right, give it a little shake out, showing you from the side view here. We're gonna come into an airplane. All right, so taking the right foot behind you, we're making one long line from that back right heel all the way up to the top right shoulder. Now, what we don't want to do is lose connection here at the hip. So keep it one nice long line. Arms are beside you. These are your wings, nice and bright. And then we're going to slowly start to hinge forward. And as you hinge forward and lift that right toe up off the ground, I want you to imagine plugging the leg into the hip socket. And there we'll attempt to connect to our core, which will give us stability. Remember that strong mountain leg we just did? I want you to make sure your foundation leg is strong like that mountain leg. We're not coming forward all the way. We're not coming forward parallel to the ground, just a little bit. Activate all the way up to your upper glute. Charge it up. Keep breathing. Don't hold your breath through a challenge. Good. And let's do 3 pumps if you got it in you. Bending your left knee and straightening. Good. Little dips, little dives. Go slow, but don't hold your breath. Beauty. Slowly coming forward and release down. Good. Give it a little shake. So remember, if you're ever feeling like you got that kicked in the crotch sensation, don't lift up the leg. Step it back and find a beautiful calf stretch. That's always available to you. Finding your mountain pose. Taking a big breath in. Big cleansing breath out. And when you're ready, step that foot back, creating that one long line from your left heel to your left shoulder. Start to hinge forward. You don't have to come far, but do activate both legs, charging them up, plugging them into the sockets. Charge up to the top of your glute, the gluteus medius, right at the base of your pelvis. Fly your wings out beside you with your nice bright fingers, setting your shoulder blades onto your back, settling your shoulders down away from your ears. Are you holding your breath? If you've lost sight of it, can you put big abundance into your belly? Good. And slowly releasing up with control all the way down. Give it a little shake out. And we're gonna take a stroll to the back of your mat. So always squatting to rise, always squatting to get down onto the ground. This is good practice for the third trimester. We do want to avoid the lunge to rise, okay? It can put a lot of extra aggravation on that psoas muscle, the one muscle that connects the upper and lower body. And so we wanna make sure we're not doing that. Using both sides of your body to get up. And bringing the feet together into bound angle. All right, tenting your fingers behind you now. Use that compression into the mat, into the floor behind you to lift your heart up, 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 up. And starting to push those fingers so that it can hinge your body forward, pulling your pelvis forward first. So imagine I'm pulling a string from your belly, lifting the heart, creating this nice long spine as you push forward just slightly. We're stretching into the hip joint there. So again, whenever we get into the hips, it's usually pretty juicy for most people. And most people right away tend to clench up. So where are your trigger spots? Can you scan through your body and find those areas that are clinging to stress when faced with a challenge? Can you let them go? Especially in your jaw and your tongue. We hold a lot of tension in our vaginas, so go through there. One more breath. Good. And slowly ascending up and up and up. Beauty. Okay, taking the knees together now. Give them a little shake out. We are going to make our way into Savasana. So again, if you want to pull in your props, you've got them available to you. If you've got a couch or a bed or a table around you, feel free to use that as well. You can set yourself up against a wall or a couch like this and come into a reclined position like so. Whatever position you come down into, making sure that you're not doing the reverse sit-up to get down. And so this goes for getting in and out of bed too. And I know sometimes that is with great urgency to have to use the bathroom, but trying to rather roll onto your side and push yourself up with your arms. Again, avoiding that exacerbation of diastasis recti. I'm gonna come into a tall seat for Savasana, but I want you to get comfortable in recline or in your seat, propped up against a wall or couch. And then closing your eyes. And this helps you to bring your focus back inside. And this is all preparation for birth. So always making sure you're seeing through these Savasanas to the end. It's easy to just turn off the audio, turn off the computer, TV, whatever you're watching on your device, and go about your day. But these Savasanas are so powerful. They help close the class, close that ceremony, all that work we just did. They help us to reintegrate and realign, refocus inside. And it's with this deep inward focus that you will enter what's called birth land during the active stage of labor, of birth. And it's where you go deep, where you go really inward to be able to focus through each sensation, through each wave as you birth baby into this world. And so every Shavasana is another point of practice for you to be able to still your mind, to exercise your brain into sitting still, into focusing. It's like training. You're training your brain, training your mind to be able to stay here right now in the present moment, to avoid that monkey chatter that likes to enter in, taking you into the past, taking you into the future, talking about the to-do lists, talking about what happened yesterday, layering on worry, fear, guilt, doubt, all of those unhelpful emotions, taking you away from right here, right now. So anchor in with your breath. That's one easy way to focus inward, because your breath is always there. It's always with you. And perhaps you can do a body scan, exploring those deep pockets within yourself, asking anywhere you can to let go, release. Stay here for one more minute, staying present, bringing your attention and focus back inward. If you find you've lost sight, And slowly start to deepen your breath. You can find a gentle movement in your arms and legs, perhaps rolling your head from side to side. And when you're ready, if you're not already on your side, then rolling there now. And from your side, ragdolling up into your tall seat, keeping your eyes closed if you can, coming all the way up into your seat. Thank you so much for sharing this practice with me today. The light in me honors and bows to the light in you and those little lights inside of you. Namaste.